Hi, this is David with entry number 334, coming at you here in Kongdong City on Sunday evening. It's currently about 5:10. I got my dinner on the stove, or on the portable little burner thing that passes as a stove. And yesterday I talked about Interstellar, and it's been a little over a day, about 36 hours. And I've kind of had more time to kind of mull over the film. And I've been having a lot of conversations on comment boards and stuff online about kind of the film and its prospects and its kind of ideas that it presents. And it's still very hard for me to think that it was beyond just being very good. I really feel like it was very, it was good in its own right. It wasn't like it was a bad film per se, but it wasn't excellent. I was talking with my dad and kind of with some other people online, and I brought up The Abyss. And with The Abyss, I kind of found it thematically very similar, in the sense that you had a very well-grounded science fiction film, and then at the end or so, the third act or whatever, you get this turn. In The Abyss, it's kind of like, I don't really want to ruin it, even though it's an older film, but it's like you get this turn and it just kind of changes the film in an inextricable way. And in Interstellar, I'm going to kind of go into more of detail now, so if you've not seen it, I would not watch this, continue watching, but in Interstellar, they explain kind of the more pivotal pieces of the actual story by just saying it was people from the future, and it supposedly is a extremely advanced society of beings who may or may not be human. We don't know. The audience doesn't know. They assume in the film, I think, that they're human, but to be honest, we don't know. And you have them as an almost God's hand. You don't see them, they're never explained. You just go, that's just how it is. That's just how it's going to be. And it's just very perplexing as to why Christopher Nolan chose to have this kind of very large story element be present without any explanation. And I think a lot of people would argue, or would just say, that it's not about those futuristic humans, it's about the relationships between the father and the daughter, and the crew, and all that stuff. And to some extent, yes, of course, yes. I guess Christopher Nolan wants you to look beyond the fact that you have this kind of extremely advanced race of beings who are able to manipulate not only, the three dimensions, but go into the fourth and the fifth dimension and manipulate space-time and relativity. I just feel like that's a pretty big leap for the audience, and we're just supposed to think it's good because it's difficult to understand. I will repeat that. I think he wants us to believe that the film is good because he does not explain really how this is possible, how this fifth dimension that Matthew McConaughey is thrust into, how that's possible. And it's a very interesting thing that I think a lot of directors do when they get kind of put into a box or something, where they kind of just say, this is really advanced, you don't even have to think about it, just kind of believe it to be true, and that's all you need. And I think that's a very you know, of course I don't really know that's how his actual feelings are towards the audience, but if those are his feelings, then I think that that's a very kind of dangerous, not really dangerous per se, but it's a very kind of arrogant or egotistical way of thinking. You know, it's like, I'm going to take this piece of information and not explain any of it, make the surrounding, you know, circumstance very obtuse so that you can't really understand it, and you're going to believe it's good because you can't understand what I'm doing. You know, of course, like I said, I'm not sure if that's what he was trying to do, but that's kind of what I feel is happening here with this film. And you know, with Inception, Christopher Nolan's other big kind of non-Batman-y big film of the last 7 years or so, that one, I think it did a really good job of kind of not forcing the exposition on you, which is storytelling. Like, it didn't directly tell you what story was happening, but he at least gave you enough to kind of make the dots connectable. In this one, in Interstellar, Christopher Nolan has placed the dots so far apart for the audience that it's very difficult, I feel like, to kind of, for me at least, to accept the story as it rolled out on film. So yeah, that's about it for today. I do feel like it was good. Like, I don't want people to think that I hate the film, because I don't. But I just feel like this huge, glaring kind of story element that is in the end is just, they use a term in I think in a lot when this kind of stuff happens. I'm sorry about that. It's called a deus ex machina, and it just is essentially where writers back themselves into a corner, and so they just have some kind of freak event occur that allows the story to continue. And it's no real explanation other than, like, it was God, divine intervention that kind of allowed this plot to move forward. And I feel like I don't really want to call what he did a deus ex machina, but it was very damn close. So, thanks for watching. This has been entry 434, and I'll talk with you tomorrow. Bye.